Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome back to Red's Homestead. Now, I was kind of wondering what to do today. I'm back at work, so I'm not doing full days of homesteading like I was on vacation. So, get off work today. I was like, well, what I'm gonna do? I don't know. I have projects in my head, but they're all too big to do unless I have a day off. I'm gonna build. So I'm gonna go check out my Premier One fencing that just came in, which is for the spring chickens. It's got a different energizer. It has a different energizer, one that plugs in versus solar, since we're gonna be running them out in the woods. I don't know how well the solar will work, how much they'll actually get, sun they'll actually get down there. What I'm gonna do is make a box, like some kind of weatherproof box for it, that I can put the actual energizer in and run an extension cord into that, and then it does have a weather insulated cable, at least it's supposed to, that'll run to the fence. I'm gonna pick up some of the firewood that we had left for a few days ago that we cut quite a while when all the trees fell. I still have a bunch of that to collect up, so while I think about things that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna collect that up. There's the first load. I heard from my wife that the father-in-law is gonna be building us a bigger trailer. That would be cool. Instead of having to only carry a few logs at a time in my small one right there, I'll have, like a 4-foot wide or 6-foot wide trailer or something that can still be pulled by the four-wheeler and carry a whole lot more. So that would be exciting if we get something like that. Let me offload this and get another load. All right, got all the wood stacked up. I'm gonna have a lot for next year. This is all just a mixture of cypress and maple. I have a whole lot of pine down at the bottom, but that's not gonna be it'll be good for, outdoor fires or something, but not too great for the indoors. So I'm just leaving it for now because it's way at the bottom of the driveway and that'll take forever to get that up. I'm gonna show you some ideas that are running through my head of what I want to do now that the biggest project, the chickshaw, is done. So I have above me right there, and then I already pulled some down right over there, a lot of gutters that was left over when we bought the place. Looks this old, 4.5-inch gutters, and I really would love to do gutters on my workshop, and maybe if I could, or figure it out how, around this barn, so that I can do some water collection, because there's a ton of gutter space on either side of that workshop, for one, and I could do a rain collection at the end of the gutter. So when I'm ready to really do some gardening down there in that wide open space, that's gonna be, I'm thinking more like vineyard type, like vineyard, berries, that kind of thing, more viney stuff, trellis. And my beds are gonna be more on the side of the house over here, behind the barn, where the chickens are, right next to the chickens. Another thing that I want to do is I picked up this scrap at my work, and when I look at it, I see a shelf of some sort. So I brought it home. Thinking in the greenhouse, I want to have this where I put my trays of seeds on in the greenhouse. I just have to figure out how I want to do that, but I just brought that home today. So that's new on the projects. What's been on the projects for a little while is that my kids don't play with the trampoline at all. We thought they would, but they just don't. They're not big fans of it. So when I look at it now as actually serving a purpose, I'm thinking a rabbit run of some sort, a rabbit shelter. I don't know, grand ideas. This is the last probably that I'll do because there's more important ones, but kind of in my head I see that as the covered shaded area that they could just run around in. I just put wiring on the bottom for a foot or so, and all around the edges, and they have like a protective shelter. So that's another project I still need to get done is I still have those logs back there. I still need to rip those into boards. But I'm having the hardest time finding an 18-inch ripper chain for my little chainsaw. So doing it just with a regular old chain, it's doable, it's just more difficult. But those logs are just sitting there and they need to be cut. The list is getting bigger. Back inside the wrecking house, still got projects not in here, but for what's in here. For my ladies and guys up here. Don't really need to do much more for these ladies except get them some nesting boxes, which literally I'm just gonna buy some milk crates and cut holes in them and call it a day. And then they're done. I mean, they've found their own ways of roosting in here. There's plenty of places and they found them. But what I do need to get is for these little ladies over here, Miss Jen and Miss Abby. In the spring, we're actually going to intentionally breed them. I say intentionally. Not like our unintentional winter babies that we've been getting. We're actually going to plan them. I have to build them little runs for the outside because the way I'm going to plan on doing it, these are only 30 by 30 cages, not quite big enough to go a full weaning, I think. It might be, but depending on the size of the litter, they've been fairly small, 5 or so, which these cages should be big enough for the first 3-4 weeks at least, until they just start weaning off the mom. But then I'm going to be taking the babies and putting them outside into a little run so that they can just grow out, and that I'll use it as kind of a tractor until I'm ready to butcher or sell or whatever I'm going to use them for. But I don't really want more than 6 cages in here at a time. They like pecking my boots. So that's probably the more urgent project that needs to get done, because I can't breed until I have somewhere for them to go into. Worst case scenario, I could get, a couple extra of these cages because I do have enough for 6 on this, but I'd rather use the system that I intended to use and have them outdoors. So we'll see if I can get around to that. My focus today, though, is what's inside that box right there. That should be my new Premier One netting and whole Energizer setup, everything that I need to run down there. So I'm gonna open this guy up, gonna take it over to the barn. All right, so this should be that insulated cable, should be about 100 feet long, that I run from my Energizer to the fence itself. This is what I'm gonna run down for my meat chickens. It's the PoultryNet 1242-3, and it's 164 feet, which is 42, I got 120 foot around my chicken coop over there. And this one is 164 feet because I'm planning on having 30 or 25 chickens in it versus the 10. And they're gonna actually be rotated more, but I just wanted them to have more room because there's a lot of trees. I don't know how I'm gonna weave in and out. So I just got a little bit bigger. And this one actually comes with a decent grounding rod. This is the IntelliShock 10,000 volt max. There's all your connections to the fence connections. Plug in. All right. So what I didn't know was the size of this thing. My plan is to build, no, it has like a little mounting screw thing. So I'm gonna build a box this can mount on, and I'll run a hole at the bottom of the box that the leads can come out and go to the fence, but also for this to connect up to a power cable that can run into this right here. So this whole thing will be weatherproofed, and it'll be like a kind of a home, and I'll have a lid that I can check on it. At least that's the rough idea in my head. We'll see how good that goes into when I'm actually building it. All right, well, before I build anything for that, I'm gonna do my due diligence and read the instructions. I wanna make sure I do everything right before I waste my time. You know, I did set up this one out here with fairly ease. I had a couple of hiccups, but learned very quickly, you know, what I did wrong. So this one, since it's a little bit different, I want to learn up on it before I put it into practice. So I'm gonna warm up at least till I have to take care of the animals this evening. So until later.